I'm going to use Hoyerswerda from the Napoleon's Resurgence box. It's this one. When you're setting up a game of Library of Napoleonic Battles, you're going to basically need 3 pieces of information. So the first one is this: if you're using cards, you use this remove cards from deck sheet, which walks you through that. So for Hoyerswerda, you'll remove 1 road column card, 2 replacements of that number 4 card, and so on. You just go right down the list and you pull those out. That's for the French card and that's for the coalition deck. So you prep both your decks. That's step 1. Then you're looking for these cards. There's these one set for each player. There's a number of them, but they're all set up like this. So you're going to look for, here's the turn track. May 28th is the date of this game, of this battle. So what you're going to do is you're going to go here and you look for the May 28th column up here. And then it gives you the information for who comes in. So you can see for Hoyerswerda, nobody on this sheet sets up for this battle. How about this one? Nope. So there's other sheets over there. You're gonna the units for that battle be on those sheets. So, but let's say we're looking at this one that's on May 21st. Berrois division will have these 3 units, and then these are the hexes that they set up in. Those same units are reinforcements on the noon turn for the battle setting up on the 20th. There's another notation. Let's see if we can find one. Here, Alt. So, Marchand's 39th Division, the Frankfurt Brigade. For these 2 dates, for the 1st and the 2nd, that's Lutzen, they're an alternate reinforcement. So they don't set up unless the alternate reinforcement event happens. That's pretty much it. So, and then here they have, this is always kind of cool. My friend Aaron loves this stuff. If he wants to know who is in what unit, this is just details of that. So basically, you set up the units according to these sheets. The reinforcements. So, for example, on this turn track for Hoyerswerda, this is the approach to battle. Start time. This is the day of battle start time. Those are different scenarios. So if you want to play the longer game, this is the approach to battle. Your units will be marching in, and then the day of battle is the shorter scenario. And you see here's all of the reinforcements, and they're basically reflecting what was on that green sheet. So Boyer is going to from Prussian 4th Corps. Boyer's division is going to arrive at this hex at 6 p.m. This division will come in a different hex at 4 p.m. So and these are all the French reinforcements. All caps, that's the leader, plus he's got his 2 divisions with him. Here's Thumann's division coming in 1 turn later. So this syncs up with these for the reinforcement part. First thing we do is we check for weather. 5, 10. Hoyerswerda 3 to 11 is fair, so there's no weather at the moment. 10 means in 2 turns we're going to check weather again. All right, so that's going to go here. So we're going to check weather again at the 2 p.m. turn. So the bonus cards in this are 2 for each player. So that means you get your 1 card plus 2 extras. So the hand size is 3. So we'll take 3 for the coalition player, 3 for the French player. So the game is set up. The French are on the board. 12th Corps has the yellow band. This is their baggage. They've got their infantry units. They also have Tyndall's guard unit with them. and the Prussians are all going to enter the board. I'm not doing any hidden movement in this, but I am going to show you how vedettes work because I think they're cool. When the weather is checked, you check supply. Supply is traced to these baggage wagons. So this guy traces off to a French supply source. This little symbol down here shows it's a French supply source. The Prussians have one up here. This guy has to be able to trace road hexes unoccupied by enemy units or their zones, trace back to a supply. If he does, then he's good to go, and he can send forward supply out to all the units with the yellow band. 14 hexes long. Can go, and it can be traced through any side of terrain except lake or river hex sides. So it's out to 14. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Everybody's in supply. So that's not even an issue. Tyndale is from the Guard, Young Guard. Usually if there's a weird unit like that, he just traces to whatever supply everybody else is tracing to. At least that's how we do it. And so the first thing really on most turns is a command segment. You're going to try to put your guys in command. So command. So in this scenario so far, the French just have Oudinot. Oudinot's an officer because he's in brackets. So officer, commander. Commanders automatically put their guys in command. They can alternatively use their command to put officers in command, and then officers can put their guys in command. If they don't get a point from the commander, they've got to roll this initiative, Victor's a 3, to put their guys in command. So I'll show you how that works. But for the moment, all we have is Oudinot on the map, and Oudinot is a commander. So he doesn't have to roll for his guys. Anybody within range of him is in command. So command range is 4 hexes, not 4 movement points, 4 hexes. So he can put Gruyere in command, he can put Rapallo's artillery in command, and he can't quite reach these guys. So all these guys are out of command. Start. We use this check marker, check for them. And these guys also have to check. So in order to move, these guys and these guys are going to have to roll their initiative, which is that center number on their counter. That's their personal initiative. If they had an officer, they could go under command from him. But since this is just one corps that's kind of spread out, these guys are going to have to roll if they want to move. First, these guys are in command. Do we want to move them? Sure, we'll move Rapallo's guns up to support Gruyere. So he's going to go 1, 2, 3 to cross a bridge. 4. He can't go stacking with this guy. It costs an extra point, so that'd be 5. So he'll do that. I'm going to send Oudinot to here. 1, 2, 3, 4. So now he has these guys in command. These guys still aren't. But he wants to get them going up to join them. And he still keeps these guys in command. So Oudinot's in a position where he can now command everybody. So all the guys that were in command moved. Now we roll for everybody who's out of command. Since I know that the Prussians are arriving from up here, I'm going to want to try to move some of these guys. So we're going to try to bring, this is his 14th Division, we're going to try to send them up to Neuwiese. So we'll you just roll individually, and then off they go. Leclerc's going to go first, and he doesn't move. 6 is greater than a 2. He needs to roll 1 or a 2 to move. Denin doesn't move. The reserve artillery is a 1 to 3. He'll move. So looking at the terrain here, he wants to stay on the roads if possible. So he's going to go 1. I'm going to put him into road march. That's a counter. When a guy goes into road march, that doesn't cost anything to go into road march. He can go through regular guys. He just can't go through other guys in road march. So he's going to go, and he gets to use the road rate when he's moving. So he's going to go 1, and then these are each a half. So 2, 3, 4. So he's going to go here. We put the markers behind them because they can't stack next to each other if you're in road march. So if another guy comes up in road march, he'll have to stop here. He can't go next to a guy in road march. So I'm going to roll for Boyer. Boyer doesn't move. So I checked all these guys. They're done. We could check these guys. We'll check Wolf's Dragoons here. Oh, they go. They're going to go up and scout around up front. So they're going to go to here. This guy's pretty good where he is. Tyndall's good where he is. So these guys are done. So French are done. So now it goes to the Prussian half of the turn. Bülow has 2 divisions that are entering here. All right, let's go through stacking real quick. Stacking is can be a little funky. So the basic rule is 2 combat units. If everyone's from the same division, it can be 3 combat units. If you have a leader, you can stack 5, but only 2 of them can be infantry. If they're all from the same division, you can have 3 infantry. It's a very hard thing to kind of summarize, but that's basically how it works. So I could have Borstel, Konigan, and this artillery all stacked together for 3 of them because they're all from Borstel's division. And that's 1, 2, 3 to get across the bridge, 4 to get into the woods. So that's 1. So the next guys are going to come in with 1 less movement point because they're behind these guys. And they're going to go, we're going to just bring in Operant's cavalry. They're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And they can't get across the bridge. Well, if they were in road march, they could. So we'll put them in road march. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then they can come out of road march for 7. So road march is a funny thing. This is the road march thing costs you nothing to put it on and 1 movement point to take it off. So there's chances, especially with speedy units, where they can go into road march, buzz along, and then come out of road march at the end of it. That's what Operant did. Rembo is going to just follow along these guys. So he's going to go to there. And Bülow will go ahead and come in with Rembo. 1, 2, 3, 4. He's got everybody in command. So they're all done moving. And that's really the end of turn 1. So we'll go to turn 2. That's how you play without cards. Everybody moves their normal movement, the printed movement on the counter. But let's go ahead and use cards for this one. So the French look at their cards. They all have text that they do different things. Tactics cards you can play on the other guy's turn. This star means this guy can be played and it stays in play until it's done. The most important thing in a way that you're looking at for these is you're looking at the movement factors. These are all 4, 6. 4 for infantry, 6 and artillery, 6 for cavalry. Light cavalry, which are 7s, always get the additional 1, so they would move 7 on if you played one of these cards. And the victory points. This is going to reduce your victory point total by this much at the end of the game. So you want to kind of keep an eye on these. The disengagement costs 2 victory points. These are both 1. So I think we're just going to play Sound of the Guns. It's a 1 VP, and it gives us a normal move. So we're going to play Sound of the Guns just as a march order. So the French play that. Then they're going to do command. So now Oudinot has these guys in command. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So these guys are all in command. 1, 2, 3, 4. That guy's in command. So the only French units that have to roll or check are these guys. So they get that marker. As a reminder, they're gonna check their movement later. Everybody else can move. I think one thing we want to do is maybe stack the guns with Gruyere so that they're protected. Alright, I think I'm going to send guys up here. We're going to fight north of the town. So we have, put this guy into road march. 1, 2, 3, 4. He's still on road march. Leclerc. 1, 2, 3, 4. Leclerc's up there, also in road march. And finally Boyer. 1, 2, 3, 4. He can get in here into Seidewinkel. And he's in road march. Baggage just moves into town, no big deal. All right, Udino's getting his force together. The second reserve will come out of road march. Well, no, he'll stay in for now. He'll go 1 or a half. Take this off. That's 1.5. Go in here. That's 2.5, and then 3.5 to stack. And that's where he's done. So that's everybody who's in command. Tyndale's going to stay here to receive Thuman, who's coming in. These guys are going to stay here. They're happy where they are. So if we were using hidden movement, I wouldn't know who's coming in, and they wouldn't know who this is. What I probably would have done if I were playing with hidden movement was I would have broken these guys down into vedettes. First of all, they look a little scarier, and I would have had them probably like this. So what happens? What you do is you put this guy makes 2 vedettes. 2 vedettes. A little number in the upper right. He's removed while the vedettes are on the board, and they're placed in his hex, and then they can move. So they would be kind of putting up a little screen to prevent these guys from just charging in. The alternative is I could have kept him formed, and then they would have had to deal with him. But if you can see if you're playing with hidden movement, the allies have no idea what they're facing here. So they could run into a unit. They don't know. So these guys are good for bluffing. But we'll just put them there like that, even though there's no bluffing for now. I think everybody else is done moving, so we go to the combat phase. Guns can fire 3 hexes away at half range. So this guy's within 3 hexes, but he's in the woods. You can't fire into woods. So you can't hit anybody. These guys also can't hit those guys in the woods. So there's no bombardment. Nobody else is adjacent. No combat. That's the end of the French turn. This gets discarded, and they draw a new card to replace it. You get Infiltration. Infiltration is a 5/7, so that's a speedy card, which is nice. It lets everybody move faster than their printed movement rate. And only costs you 1 VP. Cavalry and vedettes only may move through enemy zones of control this turn as long as you don't move from one to another, which is nice. So I'm going to play this Force March for the Coalition card for the turn. 4/6, so now we go to command. Bilo also is a commander. He's got a 1 in brackets. So he can put everybody within 4 in command. That's everybody here. So they're all good to go. These guys are always in command the turn they come in. If I want to give them a march order, I can. You just write that down. So I'm going to write down, I want these guys to move to Nard. And as long as they don't run into a actual unit while they're en route, that's not counting, they can go right there without worrying about Bilo being in his command. Once they get to Nard, or they become adjacent to an enemy unit, they'll come out of their march order. So let's say you don't know who this guy is. When units are coming in road march, they have to repulse if they want to try to get through something. That's dangerous. You can get into trouble if you repulse and you don't have the necessary odds. You need a 5-to-1 to do that. But they suspect these are vedettes, so they're going to just pile on through. So they're going to go 1, 2. They'll try to push this guy out. They need 5-to-1 odds. They have 6. This guy has 0. So he immediately just zooms back, reveals himself, zooms back. These guys keep moving. 1, 2, 3, 4. Same deal. This guy's now going to go back. And Spruth 1, 2, 3 is also going to come in up the road. All right, so that's Thuman's brigade. So we're going to go 1, 2 to get over the stream, 3, 4. The guns are not going along. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pile in. We'll put Rimbo back here. Operator's going to stay lurking up there for now. The effects of a stream on combat is defender is 1.5 times its strength if attacked through a stream. He is. The bridge doesn't change that. In a town, defender's infantry is 1.5. So that's only for the infantry, so we're going to definitely take the stream on that one. Marsh, cavalry is halved, artillery is halved. The combat strength of them. So, for the defender, we'll just take the stream modifier. So that's 8 plus 4, 12. These guys, no other modifiers, so 4, 5, 6, 7. It's going to be a 7 to 12, 1 to 1.5. The defending player could bombard, but there's nobody really in range. This guy is participating in the attack, so he just counts as factors into the defense. He can't shoot ahead of time. Our bombardment, this guy can't fire up a hill. 1, 2, 3, can't fire in the woods still, so that's kind of where there's no bombardment. So we're just going to do a straight up attack. 3 is a shock. 3 at 1 and 1.5 is a shock. The initiative ratings of the units involved: 2, 3 for cavalry, 2, and these guys are 3 for a gun and 2. Guns can't use their initiative unless they're stacked with infantry, but since they are, they can. So they're a 3, these guys are a 3, they're even up. So we're going to roll in the shock table. So the way this works is you roll a dice for each side. We'll start with Prussians. So a 1 and a 2 is a +0, a 4 and a 5 is a +1, a 5 and a 6 is +2, and it's added to this number. So these guys are, are +1, so that his initiative, modified initiative is a 4. The defender, same thing, they're both at 4. There's a little shock table. 4 and 4 is 1R. So basically everybody stays in place and 1 unit is reduced. It has to be the unit that was modifying the combat. So this is the only unit. He's killed because he can't be reduced. And same thing with the cavalry. They're both killed. So bloody little fight on the over the river results in 2 pewed units. Neither of these guys can't be reduced, so they're not going to come back. They're both permanently killed. 1 from each corps. The way you keep track of this, I don't have my counters, but we'll do it the old-fashioned way, which is you use the unit of the first unit killed. So this guy's a 1. We're playing Look How, I think is the track we use. So that shows that 1 French guy has been killed. And there's another one of these for the Allies. I'll just use this one. There's also 1 Prussian guy who's been killed. As these move down, the units will become demoralized eventually. And you can see where. Like, where's 11th Corps? 12th Corps, right here. So they're not going to get broken until they've lost 18 guys. Very unlikely in this scenario. So, little shock, and these guys stay in contact for the turn. So, end of turn. Draw a new card for the Prussians. They get reinforcement arrives early. I don't think that's actually one. They get countercharge. It's another tactics card. So that's that. We go to turn 2, and we're going to do another weather check. So that's how that works. So We have 3, 6. Fair weather again. And with a 6, it's 3 turns. 1, 2, 3. Now we check. Oh, I forgot to bring in. Oh, he's got to come in here, doesn't he? Huh, isn't that interesting? That sort of changes things. So he can trace to here, and then it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So they're all in supply. Udino's guys are all in supply. And we're going to go to the French turn. French probably going to want to play disengagement, maybe. It's a -2. It's a -2 disengagement, but it would let this guy go wherever he wants. He could go over here, he could go back and then over. Lets him move even though he's in zone. So we'll go ahead and play that. It's a 4/6, costs 2 victory points. So for command, he has to check. He has to check. Everybody else is in command within 4 of Udino. We're going to want to go after these guys. So 1, 2, 3. Rapolo can come up to bombard. Bula there. Dehenin. 1, 2, 3 to get to stack. This guy will come up to take Bergen. Oh, and 4 to come out of Road March. I had to pay to get these guys out of Road March. Boyer. He'll stay in side Winkel, just protected from the cavalry. Udino. One, 2, 3, 4. He's just going to come up into here. I think he's got everybody in command at that point. Checks. Oh, and then these guys have to check too. So we'll check for the vedettes. These are 3. Nope. And these guys are 4. Yep. They're going to go over here so they can form their cavalry. So now they're a real cavalry unit again. Tyndall, happy where he is. Purali is also actually happy where he is, so they don't even check. So we go to the defending bombardment phase. I think there's still no issue there. No, this guy could, if he doesn't want to participate in the defense here, he could fire on Rapolo. We'll do it just for the sake of argument. He's going to fire over here. He's firing at 2. That's a bombardment. It's called. This is a artillery reaction fire. So you fire on the bombardment table. He's firing with 2. That's a 6. There's a DR. That just sends this guy back. Boer fired. He can't participate in the defense combat. Rapolo can fire, but he's firing at 1 now because he had to retreat. And he's at range 3. 6 at 1 is DR. So he actually forces this guy to retreat. So they're going to go into here. And these guys can come in if they want. Yeah. We'll just stay there. So that ends the combat there. They push Bülow's guys away from Neuweisse. No combat over here. So it goes to the Prussian player's turn. I want to show you how a cavalry charge works. I want to see if there's anybody who could possibly charge into. This guy actually can't charge. He's a light cavalry. You can see Wolf. He's got the LC. He's a light cavalry. Dumeric, on the other hand, is a heavy cavalry. He's at the HC. There's also just regular cavalry that doesn't have any notation. They also can charge. So instead of moving, you give them a charge marker. There are a bunch of conditions on charging, what you can charge through, how far you can charge. So after bombardment, this guy can charge. So he will charge 1, 2 into here. And what he's attempting to do, you flip this over, he's attempting to overrun. So you look at the charge table. 1 to 2 odds is what he's charging at. So on a 1 to 2, he will successfully overrun. On a 3, return to where he started. On a 4, he'll return to where he started and take a hit. He'll take a reduction. And on a 6 or better, he'll return to where he started and take 2 reductions. You can charge with a stack. You can charge with multiple guys, but they have to start all together. So he rolled a 6. So that's a PR2, which would kill him. Let's say he didn't. Let's say I rolled a 1. He overruns. What he's doing right now is he gives Tyndall combined arms, so it's cavalry, and it surrounds this guy with zones of control. So if he gets a retreat, he can't retreat. So he'll just be killed. So a charge lets you put a surround, lets you surround a guy who otherwise wouldn't be surrounded. Look at the combat table a little bit. Combat has just a few results on it. There's the DR, basically, is the defender retreat. If the defender can't retreat, he's killed. There's AR, same thing. The attacker has to retreat. If he can't attack, he's killed. They have numbers attached to them. AR2 means you have to go back 2 hexes. An exchange. All combat units on the weaker side are killed, and then the stronger side eliminates a total of at least 50% of the combat strength of the weaker side. So if these guys were in a fight, there's 8 of them. If somebody attacked them and got an exchange, these guys would be wiped out, 8 points, and then the attacker would lose 4, which is half of 8. Shock means you roll in the shock table. I showed you how that works. And then there's the AR star and DR star. So it's just like a DR or an AR, but in certain terrain, it triggers a shock. Like woods, it's defiles they're called. So coming across a bridge or in a town or in the woods, if you get that AR star, and in certain weather will trigger it too, like thunderstorms. That's basically combat. The bombardment, you can suppress somebody. There's a marker that goes on, a suppression marker, which basically makes the unit suffers the effects of demoralization. That basically reduces its initiative by 1. Can't advance while it's suppressed. Even if it wins a combat, it can't advance into the defender's hex. You also can get a retreat, and you can get a DR. You can get an R, 1 or 2 reductions. So let's say Victor and Napoleon were on here, and Victor had some units. Victor's an officer. His number is in parentheses. Let me move these off. Victor's command rate is in parentheses, so he's an officer. Napoleon's is 3 in brackets, so he's a commander. That's how you tell the difference. So during command, Napoleon can give 3 commands to different officers. In this case, he would give 1 to Victor. Victor's now in command. So anybody within 3 hexes of Victor, commanders have a range of 4, like Oudinot did. Officers have a range of 3. So at the 3 hexes, Victor can put his guys in command. So these 3 guys are in command, they can go. Victor is second corps. He can only put in command his little purple guys. Napoleon can put officers, up to 3 officers in command. And he can also put 3 guys. So let's say Tyndall was here. Tyndall's not part of Victor's corps, so Victor can't put him in command. But Napoleon can put 3, for each of these numbers, he can put 1 officer in command and put 1 additional guy in command, 1 unit, this brigade here. So this guy would also be in command. So with this situation, Napoleon would put everybody in command, going through Victor. Napoleon's not here. Victor can't put Tyndall in command, and has to roll to put these guys in command. So he would have to roll against his 3. A 5, he would have failed. So he would be out of command. And in addition, anybody within his command span is also out of command. So these guys are all out of command also. If this guy were 4 away, 1, 2, 3, 4, he wouldn't have been able to be commanded by Victor. So you would give him this check thing. And he would just roll on his individual initiative later once you do all this stuff. So you do all the command stuff first, and then you check all the individual guys. to it. You can use leaders to bring dead guys back. If you have a guy here in this recovered box, you can instead of Victor giving orders to his guys, you can say, oh, Victor's going to reorganize his turn. And he can bring up to 2 guys from here, well, I have to be one of that, from here back to the map. They come back flipped over. So he's back. So this guy, like this provisional guy, he's originally a 5, but let's say he was killed earlier in the game. Now he comes back at strength 3. These guys both have to check because he is not putting them in command because he's busy doing reorganizing instead. And then next turn, this guy will be available to go again. When these guys come back, their full strength number is reduced here, so that if a unit is demoralized because, like Second Corps, let's say here, Second Corps has 8. If they had eight guys killed, they would be demoralized, and this D marker would go out. Okay, these guys are demoralized. They can't advance. Your initiative's all down by 1. It basically kind of screws with the ability of that corps to do anything. But when this guy comes back, this would be reduced 5. It would go down to 3. Second Corps would be fine. This thing would come off the map, and now these guys have recovered again. So that's how if your corps is demoralized, if you can reorganize some people, you can maybe bring it back. Out of supply does similar things. So if let's say somebody, they took away your wagon, now you can't trace supply anymore. Your guys would be out of supply. It does basically the same thing demoralization does. It means you can't advance. Your alt -1 initiative does the exact same thing. It's just so you want to protect your baggage wagon, make sure it doesn't get grabbed by somebody, because that'll put your guys out of supply. There's lots of other little things, but that's sort of the core of the game. That's basically how the game works. And that's really it. That's the game in a nutshell. Hope you enjoy it.